What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about a unique YouTuber by the name of Auston Holleman. Now, the reason why I want to talk about him is because in recent weeks, he has sort of become the face of the whole passport bro community online, or many guys who use the SYSBM slash passport bro hashtag tend to tag or reference a guy by the name of Auston Holleman. And of course, you can see here in the picture wearing a white t-shirt. Now, the reason why I wanted to address him is because I have been making a lot of videos in recent weeks addressing the sort of passport bro movement, SYSBM movement, and the problem I have with it. And the reason why I have been having issues with it in late is because I feel like a lot of the guys who push this movement, these movements, are not honest about the other side, right? In other words, they try to sort of obfuscate or cover up all the stuff, right, that as a black man, you have to deal with when you're dealing with non-black women, right? Yes, look, I do agree that, in the black community is not perfect, right? Every community has its own issues. But the problem is that they will kind of hyper focus on the issues that plague the black community, black women, black men, and then minimize the issues that plague other communities, right? And one great example of this is Auston Holleman, because he has sort of become the face of this whole SYSBM passport bro movement. This is a guy who essentially left America, went to Brazil, went to Colombia, and has been making sort of videos talking about, now here, look, he says American women, but it's obvious that he's referring to black women, right? He'll make videos talking about how black women here in America are this and that, right? And I've always kind of looked at guys like this with sort of a left eye, because I'm like, first of all, I know that in South America, okay, countries like Colombia have a majority single mother rate. In fact, in Colombia, right, close to, I think, 80% of the women there are single mothers. In Brazil, a large percent. In other words, all across South America, single motherhood is a very normal thing, and these are not black women. They're not. And so when I see a dude who's leaving, America, going to these Spanish countries, talking about how it's so much more better, I'm like, okay, this guy's lying. These are lying, because I know those countries have a very high level of single mother rate. I know those countries have a lot of crime, poverty, and those countries also, in many ways, the Spanish women there, right? They may submit here and there, but they're also very anti-black and very colorist, right? And so when I started to make videos addressing Auston Holleman and talking about the problems with the passport bro and the problems with the SYSBM community, and how, for me, I just viewed as anti-black rhetoric, because if you're saying, right, that you guys are obsessed with single motherhood and how bad single motherhood is, how black women are such bad single mothers, all right? Because a lot of these guys have been talking about single motherhood for years, right? This has been a narrative we've been hearing for a long time in regards to the black community. So when I hear guys like this talk about single motherhood rates in the black community, and then leave to go to a non-black community like Colombia, where the single motherhood rate is even higher, then for me, I feel anti-black rhetoric. But what recently happened to Auston Holleman is that Auston Holleman essentially recently put a video out, right? A couple of shorts, in which he essentially exposed the fact that he has been in many ways dealing with single mothers down in South America. Essentially exposing himself, right? Because up until now, right, the narrative that we've been hearing from guys, especially in the SYSBN space, the manosphere space, is how much they're against single motherhood. And to be honest, I kind of agree with the perspective, right? And of course, a lot of this single motherhood conversation is hyper-focused on black women. So now these guys they talk about how much bad single motherhood is in regards to black women, just for them to go overseas to non-black women and deal with them there. And when you have a guy like Auston Holleman literally talking about how well, if you're a passport bro and you're dealing with a quote-unquote single mother overseas, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, Yeah, but the problem is that when you guys were going over there, you were saying the women there were better. That's what y'all was saying. And so for now, for y'all to just now turn around and pretend as if nothing happened is so fucking disingenuous, right? And to make it even worse, now you got dudes out here being exposed as in which they're getting robbed and drugged in Colombia. Let's keep it real. And the crazy part is Auston Holleman recently, I think, had a video in which he was talking about how chicks in Brazil and Colombia will cheat on you if you go back to the States. What I'm trying to say here is this. Auston Holleman, to me, represents a lot of the guys in the passable community, right? Where they will post this image, this false image, of quote unquote what women overseas are like, right? Without actually telling the whole truth. And when they will go overseas, here you find out, right? They're going into countries where they get no protection, right? But let's keep it real. Look, in a lot of these Spanish countries, colorism is rampant. Okay, if you look at the quote-unquote black Latinos that live in those countries, they're treated like shit. And the hierarchy in South America is very clear. It's black and indigenous people at the bottom, mestizos, and then white Hispanics. If it wasn't for the fact that you had an American passport, if it wasn't for that, they would treat you like shit, just like the quote-unquote black, Hispanic population there. So y'all are really getting a pass. So you're going to these countries where, quote unquote, you're going to these countries with a lot of anti-black racism, and quote unquote, if it wasn't for your American passport, you treat like shit, right? And if something happens to you, like quote unquote, that other guy that got drugged and robbed in Colombia, no one's gonna protect you. I mean, this dude literally had to pay law enforcement to go and investigate for him. But in addition to that, right, when these dudes go to these countries, what they're going to realize, a lot of these countries have an even higher single motherhood rate than even here in America, especially in Colombia. So what ends up happening is when they go over there, they have no choice but to essentially deal with single mothers over there. So now, because they've been talking about single mothers for such a long time, when they go over there and they find out these non-black females or even more single mothers than here in the black community, they have to now flip the script. Now all of a sudden as well, single mothers. I'm like, Auston Holleman literally tried to say that a single mother who lives in Brazil and Colombia is better than a single mother here. I'm like, this is what we're talking about. But see, when guys like me call this out, when we call this behavior, now dudes want to get mad. No, I'm going to keep it honest. The reality of the situation is that, number one, in these countries, the only reason why the women, quote unquote, treat you the way they do is because you have an American passport, you have US dollars. If it wasn't for your passport and if it wasn't for your dollars, they would treat you like shit because the black population in South America are treated like shit. Number two, these women in these foreign countries, essentially, a lot of them, right, are quote unquote single mothers on bad situation. And number three, in these countries, there is no protection, right? You will face discrimination and racism. Probably even, I'm like, if you guys think colorism is bad here in America, it's even worse there than in South America. Let's keep it real here. And so now that you have Auston Holleman, right, exposing himself, essentially exposing the fact that he has been, after all the stuff that this guy has been saying about single motherhood in the black community here in America, here we find out he's been dealing with single mothers in Brazil and Colombia this entire time. And now he wants to play it off and say, well, it's not. No, it is a big deal, Austin. It is a big deal because you passport bros have been talking about single motherhood for so long. And now we find out you're over here dealing with single mothers, dating them overseas. I'm sorry. Y'all lost all my fucking respect. And the crazy part is now that he's exposed himself like this, he now wants to quote unquote play safe and say it's not a big deal. It's crazy, man. But look, at the end of the day, all of this quote unquote like reinforces what I've always thought about these passable SYSBM dudes, right? Where they operate on what I call the black female exception, where any problem that black women have, somehow non-black women don't have that issue. So they'll say, well, black females are feminists. Black females want to be on welfare. Yeah, that's true. But so do non-black women too. like, what, brother? What, when you're dealing with these quote unquote Spanish single mothers, you don't think they want welfare? You don't think they want feminism? We gotta be honest here, man. With that being said, y'all, and by the way, guys, if you guys want to have a more deeper analysis, I have a whole live stream for like 40 minutes where I go into this, but y'all can go into it if you want to know more. But I'm gonna leave it here. But with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hammer out.